Um, so I'm sitting here at my job. I work at the Holiday Inn. It's the night shift, and I don't know, feeling lonely, feeling like I need to talk about something. Um, I'm not sure what I'm gonna talk about. I guess probably just the shit that I've seen, stuff that I've experienced, living in the hood, the ghetto, trenches, whatever you want to call it. Um, so I grew up in Minnesota, Minneapolis. I moved there from Chicago when I was 8, and we stayed there for about 7, 8 years. And for the most part, we stayed in very low income areas. A lot of black people, a lot of gangs, a lot of violence. Um, I think the earliest piece of destruction or violence that I've witnessed firsthand was when I was in middle school. I think it was autumn or maybe spring, most likely autumn. I feel like it was just getting cold, and we lived right on the same street, which would be a theme of us just living anywhere. We usually live really close to schools or whatever. So there was a school called North High, right across the street from us, and to the left was North Commons, which was like a park type situation. And across the street, North High was notorious for being one of the, not, I wouldn't say deadliest, but the most violent, gang-ridden school, and it was a high school. So across the street, me and my brothers are chilling in the house, maybe playing a game, maybe playing with each other. We're doing something, and my older brother comes to the big picture window that we have, and he says, "Look, look, look." So we all scurry to the window, and outside we see these two guys. They're arguing. They're arguing with pistols in their hands. I didn't see much of it, but my older brother did. He saw all of it. The argument escalates, and they start shooting. Complete shootout right in front of us. They're hiding behind cars, busting shots, reloading. It was a long ass shootout, right? Like 10-15 minutes. That's a long ass time. And even after they left, like the cops, they came later. But yeah, I think that was the first time I saw really anyone outside of like movies and shit really shoot at someone. I think one of them got hit, but they ended up getting away. I don't know what happened to them or if they got caught. Probably not. But the news came, and they interviewed us. They interviewed my family and asked us what happened, and we told them because hey, we're on the news. It's our it's like a bit of a limelight or whatever. And I remember the next day, I went to school, middle school, and one of my teachers, they came up. She was a white lady. She asked me, "Yo, Tyree, are you okay? I saw you on the news. Your family on the news. Are you all right?" And she was genuinely worried, surprised. And I remember looking at her like, yeah, this shit is just regular. It happens all the time, It's not anything to be surprised at or worried about or anything like that. It was normal. So I just told her, yeah, I'm all right. My family's good. We're all right. We're not hurting. And that was that. Another time where I saw firsthand the violence that came with living in the hood. We had long since moved from North High and North Commons, and we moved up. We were on the lows, now we're in the highs, which is the streets. The streets in Minnesota are, well, I think at least in Minneapolis, they are alphabetical and numerical. So we went up, which didn't mean that we went up in income or anything like that. We were still in the hood, still on the north side. So we lived next to another park. I think it was Fairfield, Farview, something like that. And I was asleep, and I remember my dad. He woke up to a knock at our door. We lived in a duplex, and he woke up with a knock on our door. The people upstairs wasn't coming down, so he ended up opening the door, and out came a 16-year-old boy. He came in. My father let him in into our house, and I woke up and I looked at him, and I could see that his face had been brutalized. His jaw was hanging like down off of his face, completely shattered, blood dripping and gushing. It looked like his cheekbone had been caved in a bit. And I remember he asked for some water. He came up and he told my dad, "Can I get a glass of water? I'm thirsty." So my dad, he gave the kid some water, and he gave him a towel, and he asked him, "Do you want us to call an ambulance? What do you want us to do?" And he said, "Yeah, please call an ambulance." And so he did. And as we sat there waiting for the ambulance, he looked at me and he talked to me. He said, well, I asked him, "What happened? How did this happen to you?" And he told me, "I was outside arguing with some grown ass men, grown niggas, and they got to fighting. And one of the grown guys, he picked up a brick and he slammed it right into his face. And then he ran off. And then he kept telling me, I'm 16. What kind of grown-ass man would do that to a 16-year-old? I'm 16. And I was a year younger, 15, in high school. And I remember looking at him, and I didn't feel any kind of sympathy or surprise or worry or regard for his safety, anything like that. I mean, it was good that my dad called him for the ambulance, but and I'm not saying I wouldn't have did that. I'm not saying I wouldn't have gave him any, generosity, or took him in that way like my dad did. He's a very admirable man for him, but I didn't look at him and pity him. I looked at him and was like, I'm the same age as you, and I was inside asleep. Why weren't you inside asleep? Why was you outside with these grown ass men arguing with him? What made you think that you as a 16-year-old could argue and get loud with a grown ass man? That's the way I thought. I don't think that way too much anymore, but I remember not feeling any kind of pity for him or anything. I just thought, this is just another day. It's another night. Crazy shit happens all the time. This is nothing new. My dad, he helped him downstairs and into the ambulance, and then he came up and we talked a bit, and then we went to sleep. And that was pretty much it for that day, for that night. I don't think I went to school after that either. I don't know. And it was just me and my dad. I don't even know if he remembered it if I asked him. Maybe I should do that. Call him up and ask him if he remembered that. That's one of the really few times that me and my dad really shared in a collective reality, me and him, only me and him witnessed something, I feel like that in a way that solidifies that you two have a bond in a way that other people don't. It's hard to explain. We're going through shit with somebody, like talking to a friend and oh, you remember this? I don't know. For me, it's yeah, we are here together. You know what I mean? You're not just an NPC or anything like that. Not that I would think of my dad as that, but it's just a solidifying moment, I feel like, between us. I think I'm gonna hit you with tell one more time. I'm trying to think. Um, I remember coming home. I was in band. This is around the same time as the last story with the 16-year-old. I was like 15, I think 16 now. And I was coming home from band. We had just did a performance, or we were practicing something. And my cousin's family, they dropped me off at my house, and there's police everywhere. Police closing off the alley, closing off the main street, everywhere. I have to get through the alley or the main street in order to get home. Okay? If I can't get through these police officers and this tape, I'm not getting into my house. And who knows how long they're gonna have this place blocked off. So I get out, I test my luck. I go up to the police officer and I'm like, yo, I gotta get home. My house is through the alley. And he's like, no, leave. And I'm like, yo, my house is right there. And then he yells at me, no, get the fuck out of here. And I'm thinking like, damn, bro. Actually, I didn't. It did feel like, oh, fuck, It sucks. I gotta go chill with my cousin now, because they didn't just drive off. They let me see if they waited and see if I could get through. And then I'm not getting through. But now that I think about it, that officer, man, I don't know. I was 16, bro. And he didn't even hear out what I had to say or anything or nothing. Just like, I gotta get home. Fuck you. You're not getting through. Now I'm on the street. You know what I mean? He could have walked me home. He could have walked me up there like, yo, this is my house. Boom. Okay. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what I would have did if I was in his position. Later I found out though that there was a drive-by shooting. And the reason what the road was blocked off because there was a casualty. Not a gang casualty. It was a baby, an infant that had been shot in the head while the mother was just walking him in a stroller. And sometimes I think and try to put myself in the shoes of the cop. I think just how jaded he must have been in that moment. I live in a world, in a city, where kids are killing infants, shooting recklessly, without any abandonment or regard of human life or anything. They don't care. And the truth is that me saying that, oh, I'm 16, he should have helped me. He should have let me through. He should have walked me to my home. The people that were doing drive-bys and creating havoc and violence in our community and in the hood and in the ghetto, they were kids no older than me. 16, 15, 14, teenagers. They were doing this. The majority of it. Yes, they were grown-ass men. But it was a lot of people that looked just like me, my age. I don't know. Maybe I'm selling myself short by trying to have empathy for somebody that did that, but it's hard not to. Hell, I'm jaded. I'm jaded myself. That's about it, though. It's good talking.